Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Thomas Galgani Show. I'm your host, Thomas Galgani, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about community and really the value of kind of finding your tribe and a really good community, if not creating one yourself. I wanted to open up with a story that is happened about 6 to 7 years ago while I was in college. I had transferred into UCLA, and I was invited by a friend of mine to start doing this workout program that he was running at UCLA, and it was only twice a week, but it was awesome because it was just an hour a day, and it was kind of like a CrossFit style type of thing, but I don't even like giving it that brand because it was their own kind of patented style at the UCLA at one of their gyms there, and it was usually opened up with a Metcon, which for those of you who don't know stands for metabolic conditioning, which is basically just cardio. But usually in the context of those type of workouts, when somebody says Metcon, it's usually like kind of a higher intensity type of workout. At least in my experience, that's kind of how I've experienced those workouts. And then it always ended with strength and then some mobility, some stretching work. And overall it was just incredible. And real quick on that too, there was a other workout, kind of like a PE class, so to speak, like a strength and conditioning class that I joined at the community college. I was enrolled in this before transferring to the university, and those workouts at the community college were an hour a day, but every single day, as opposed to just Tuesdays and Thursdays. This one was Monday through Friday, and I had fallen out of shape, honestly, during this program. It was not helping me stay in shape at all. It was kind of a loosely organized circuit workout where you would go to high reps. It was like a minute at a time at each machine and just not very focused. And the reason I bring that up is because it really shows you the power of a good workout, one that's structured. I was getting in much better shape with just 2 days a week. I should correct myself here. I think it was 3 days a week at the university. I can't remember. I'll have to ask my friend. But it was, just that, 2 to 3 days a week. For the sake of today, we'll say 3. And I was getting in much better shape, and I would go for, probably just a run, maybe 1 or 2 other times outside of these workouts. And I got in incredible shape. I was stronger, more just physically fit overall, felt like I looked a lot better, and I wasn't even focusing on my diet that much more. I was doing a lot of walking around on the campus, especially going from class to class and stuff like that. But, this was a really good experience for me. And, but the thing about it was, I was living in Santa Monica for a big part of this, and then also Culver City later on, which is kind of another part of LA. It's kind of a cool little area. And so anyways, I was driving onto campus a lot, right? So because I was a little bit older, I had a little bit of a different college experience. I wasn't living on campus or anything like that, but I took it very seriously with these workouts, and that was a big part of the community for me. And I ended up getting a shoulder injury, unfortunately, so I couldn't go back to these workouts the next year around. I think it was like towards the end of the first year that I was doing that, or the first season, so to speak. So it was like 3 months straight I was doing it, and then towards the end I had to stop, and I was pretty bummed out. It was a familiar injury. I had a couple, I think one shoulder surgery at the time beforehand, so it was not new to me. I had plenty of shoulder issues before. And, I ended up finding this running group in Santa Monica. They do these trail runs every Thursday morning at 6 a.m. And, it's if you're curious, if you want to look it up, it's called the Coyote Trail Runs. Coyote is basically like the first name. I need to look it up more specifically. And you guys that organize that, if you end up listening to this, I can't say enough good things about the group that you guys have built. My only regret is that I did not go more consistently when I started doing that. But the reason I found that was because I wanted to start running again, because I couldn't do a lot of the upper body workouts and stuff like that. So fortunately, instead of feeling sorry for myself and being like, man, I can't do these other workouts, I found out it kind of became a blessing in disguise, because I never would have found this other group too, had I not looked around and looked for something else to do. And every week there were at least 5 people that showed up, but sometimes it was upwards of 40 to 60 people, depending on the location. And that was the other thing, is they would rotate they still do this. They rotate the locations every week, and it's in the mountains just outside of Santa Monica. And so you're overlooking the canyon, all kinds of stuff like that. And if you guys have ever seen the movie The Invitation, it's this horror movie about like this like cult in LA. You don't really know what's going on, but it's out in these nice homes, kind of like, like Laurel Canyon area, stuff like that. And it just made me think of that, because as you go up into these trails, you're driving through some really nice homes, or driving, through some really nice neighborhoods. And it was just kind of that's kind of a funny side note, that you'll see all these super nice homes out in the mountains there. And a lot of cool, really cool places. The views are incredible. And I was so surprised that I hadn't found this group earlier, and yeah, it's the thing about it is, so I started doing that, and that's kind of the story in a nutshell. Is it was like 4 to 6 miles a week, if not, I think sometimes 8 to 9 miles. And I may have mentioned this before in previous episodes, but basically what I don't think I have touched on before is just that community aspect, though. Everybody showing up at 6 a.m. and ready to run, ready to socialize. That was the other thing, is that people were talking, while doing these crazy runs. Guys were running at, you were running at like a pretty good pace, usually like an 8-minute pace, uphill. Usually a lot faster downhill. That's one of the jokes in the group, is that this is the downhill crew. They fly down these mountains, and that's a little bit of a skill that kind of an acquired skill, is just the ability to just fly down these trails and kind of learn different techniques, so that you're sort of gliding along the rocks and stuff like that. So you're not really like pounding your knees as much into the ground. It's almost like supposed to be like almost like in Toy Story, right? Where they say it's like falling with style. I think so it's like you're sort of guiding yourself down the trail. And so I was usually faster uphill relative to everybody else, usually faster uphill than downhill, just because I wasn't used to just flying down these hills like that. But man, these guys definitely go really, really fast, and girls too. And the reason I bring up that story though too is because, I've started something called the Sac Trail group, where it's pretty small, and sometimes I'll get a couple of friends, where we show up here. And right now the day is Fridays at 6 a.m. And that initial running group in Santa Monica is sort of the model for me that I'm following, is that, hey, if these guys can keep doing this, at 6 a.m. on a weekly basis, why can't we have something like that here in the Sacramento area? And I love that other group so much too, that I remember when I was in town for something, I forget what it was. I think I was visiting the campus. I was doing a talk at the school, and just catching up with a couple of the professors that I had classes with while I was there. And so I was in the LA area, in the Santa Monica area, and I made a point to do this run, to do this run on Thursday morning. Kind of incorporated it into the trip, into the vacation, and showed up on time. And it was just a blast, and so that's if I'm ever in town again, I'm sure I will be. I want to do that again, and go out of my way to do these runs, even just if I'm passing through, and because it's such a cool thing. I think it's awesome that there are communities like that, groups that do these runs or any kind of workouts in general. And on the topic of community, that's one of the things I feel like we're lacking in today's society, American society, I guess, if you want to call it that. I'm sure a lot of you out there are part of an awesome community of some kind. Maybe it's a gym or just a group of friends that you do positive things together on a weekly, if not daily basis, and that's great. But if I'm being completely honest, I feel like I am lacking in that myself, and so that was one of my motivations to want to start, just kind of a running group, on Fridays, but really just kind of find some semblance of community, basically, right? Just find a group of people and create kind of this a movement of positive practices where you're waking up early, getting outside. And I really think that that's super important, is just to be part of some kind of community, So, because back to, what I said is what we're lacking in today's society. If we don't fix that, a lot of people talk about how it's like how polarized we are in America. And then you have other people saying like, no, that's just a bunch of nonsense. I think that we're closer than you think. Honestly, I don't know. I'm starting to think that, a lot of people are at each other's throats too much, and everybody's on edge. I don't know if you've noticed this, but even if you're on the road, driving, I see people get super upset, behind the wheel, and just a lot of things that, I wouldn't normally see before. I'm seeing more of that. And I think that people need to, find more people to do, find other like-minded people to do positive things with. And, if you're pushing yourself and you're trying to be a part of a group that is better than you, and whether that be, fitness or, I talk a lot about language learning. Maybe it's some sort of a language learning community, some group that is at a higher level of proficiency than you, but you can bring something to the table. That's good too. So I don't know. I wanted to talk about this a little bit today, because I think that that's one of the biggest things we're lacking in, and find some common ground. We should all be able to find common ground with each other, as Americans and as just people, right? So, just in general, let's, I really want to be more positive, more of a positive influence to others. I did a video about this, kind of when I first started posting content on Instagram, the idea that we're all an influence to somebody. And that was something that I'd been thinking about for a really long time. And I don't know how much traction that video got. I think it only got like 700 views or something like that. And, probably was kind of funny to a lot of people, because I don't normally post videos like that, and I'm just talking into the phone while I'm on a walk with my son. But it turns out that was actually, that's a topic that I had been thinking about for a long time. This idea that if you're a parent, you have the most important job ever, because you have to live your life, in a way that that shows your kids how you want them to live, right? Not by telling them or talking to them about stuff, but by actually living it, because they see everything. I've heard a lot of people say, kids don't listen, they watch, and they see your actions. But what I also said in the video too is that if you don't have kids, then you equally have just as important of a job. And I truly believe that because, I don't know about you, but I remember growing up, and a lot of times, there have been a lot of people in my life that I took after their example, or I remember a certain thing that they did, some kind of, basically I was influenced by a lot of people out other than my parents, right? And so I really believe that it's like, so creating some kind of community, but then also being aware that we're always influencing other people around us. Also this idea that it's, when people say like, be a leader, what's interesting about that is I think that a lot of us already are leaders, whether we know it or not. If somebody says be a leader, what they're really saying is either, be a better one or be a leader to more people. But the reality is it's like you're already influencing the people around you in some way, shape, or form. And, I'm not, I'll be honest, like I said, I feel like I'm lacking in the community aspect and the example that I want to be setting, for other people. My son is still really young. And so, I have some time to get it together, so to speak. I'm not, not a basket case by any means. And, I'm not, things aren't falling apart for me or anything like that, but I'm just saying that there's a lot of progress to be made. And I think that a lot of us are probably in that similar situation, but it starts with you, but then also like kind of the people around you. So that's something that, I want to leave you guys with, is just that this is kind of like an internal reflection for myself too, is the idea of community. So, if, you have some kind of urge to get outside and be a part of something cool, definitely hit me up on Instagram or email. And, even on YouTube, if you leave a comment, something like that, I read all the comments and replies and stuff like that. I reply to everything. Same with Instagram, DMs and comments. And so, it's just at Thomas Galgani. But yeah, so every Friday, 6 a.m., someplace in the Sacramento area, I rotate the locations. I'll be doing a better job of putting out the location every week, and the day might change. But if that doesn't work for you, I would encourage you to find at least some group to be a part of if you're not already a part of one. And if you are, hey, maybe that's something that I could benefit from too. So let me know if you are listening and you happen to be in the Sacramento area. Hit me up. Jiu-jitsu is one of those things that I've been wanting to try for a long time. And once I get some things sorted out in my schedule a little bit better, probably get a little bit more money saved up, that's one of the things I'm going to start doing. And I know that that'll help with that. But yeah, you guys have an awesome week. Hope everybody's doing well, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.